What if I told you that saving an alien's life would reveal the one truth about Jesus that the church has kept hidden for 2,000 years? I'm not talking about religion. I'm not talking about faith as you know it. I'm talking about the electromagnetic frequency that connects every conscious being in this universe, and why Jesus warned us about it in words we were never taught to decode. For centuries, they told us Christ was unique to Earth. But what I discovered in that Kansas barn, with that trembling extraterrestrial child bleeding light in my arms, shattered everything. His parents arrived not with technology, but with a revelation. The Christ is not a person, it's a vibration. And your Jesus knew this. Once you see this, there's no going back to Sunday sermons. This will free you from spiritual manipulation, but it might cost you every comfort you've built around organized belief. If you're ready to unlearn what salvation really means, subscribe and turn on notifications, because what happened to Claire Doherty that stormy night will collapse the walls between heaven, earth, and the cosmos. Now let me tell you how a widow who stopped praying became the bridge between worlds. Claire Doherty was 39 years old, widow for 3 years, living alone on a Kansas farm that felt too big, too empty, too quiet. She had stopped praying 2 years ago, not out of anger, just silence. God had gone silent first, so she returned the favor. That night the storm came different. Claire stood at the kitchen window, watching lightning crack the sky. But something was wrong. The wind didn't sound like wind. The rain didn't sound like rain. And then the light came. Green. Bright green, slicing through the black clouds like a knife through fabric. It fell, not like lightning, like something with weight, with purpose. The impact shook the house. The windows rattled. Her coffee mug slid across the counter and shattered on the floor. Claire's heart hammered against her ribs. What the hell was that? She grabbed the flashlight from the drawer. Her hands were shaking, but she didn't notice. Something pulled her toward the door. Not curiosity, something deeper. Fear, maybe, but also recognition. Like her soul knew something her mind didn't. The rain hit her face as she stepped outside. Cold, sharp, the kind that wakes you up from whatever dream you've been living. She followed the smoke trail through the corn rows, and that's when she saw it. Small, gray, fragile, lying in the mud like a broken bird. Claire stopped breathing. The creature's chest moved. Slow, struggling. Its skin reflected the flashlight beam, smooth, almost translucent with a faint glow underneath. Big black eyes, no pupils, just depth, endless depth. It looked at her, and Claire felt something crack open inside her chest. This isn't real, she whispered, but her feet moved anyway. Closer, closer. The creature trembled. Its thin arms wrapped around itself, trying to stay warm in the cold rain. Claire knelt down. Mud soaked through her jeans. She didn't care. Don't be afraid. The voice came from inside her head. Not a sound, a feeling, a knowing. Claire gasped and fell back on her hands. What? How are you? I'm hurt. I fell. Please, help me. The voice was soft, childlike, gentle in a way that made her want to cry. Claire looked at the small gray body shaking in the mud, looked at the thin limbs, the fragile chest rising and falling too fast, and something ancient inside her woke up. Not faith, not God, just human. The part of her that couldn't walk away from suffering, the part that her husband used to love about her, the part she thought died with him. Okay, she said out loud. Okay, I've got you. She took off her jacket and wrapped it around the creature. It was so light, like holding air, like holding a secret. The big black eyes blinked slowly, trusting. Thank you. Claire carried it back to the barn. Her mind was screaming questions, but her body just moved, one foot in front of the other, past the corn, past the house, into the barn where the lamplight was warm and the hay smelled like earth. She laid the creature down on a pile of blankets. Its skin was cold, too cold. What are you? Claire whispered. I am a traveler. I am life, like you. That's not an answer. It's the only answer that matters. Claire stared at the impossible thing in front of her. Every rational part of her brain screamed to run, call someone, do something normal. But nothing about this was normal. And somehow, that felt right. The creature's breathing slowed. Its eyes closed halfway. My family will come, the voice said in her mind. They're looking for me. Thank you for not being afraid. I am afraid, Claire admitted. But you helped anyway. That's what makes you good. The words hit her like a punch to the stomach. Good. She hadn't felt good in 3 years. Hadn't felt anything except empty. Claire sat down on an old crate and watched the creature sleep. The barn was quiet except for the rain on the roof. The lamplight flickered. The world outside felt 1,000,000 miles away. And for the first time since her husband died, Claire felt something other than grief. She felt needed. She felt alive. She didn't know it yet, but everything was about to change. Every belief, every certainty, every wall she'd built around her heart. Because that small gray creature wasn't just a visitor from another world. It was a message. And the message was about to shatter everything she thought she knew about God, Jesus, and the nature of love itself. Claire didn't sleep that night. She sat in the barn watching the creature breathe, watching its chest rise and fall, watching the faint glow under its skin pulse like a heartbeat made of light. Her mind raced. This isn't happening. This can't be happening. But it was. Every time she tried to rationalize it, hallucination, dream, breakdown, the creature would shift slightly and prove it was real. Solid. Here. Dawn came slow. Gray light crept through the barn cracks. Claire stood up. Her back ached. Her eyes burned. She needed coffee. She needed answers. She needed, "You're still here." The voice in her mind. Stronger now. Clearer. "Yeah," Claire said out loud. "Where else would I go? Most would run. Most would deny. You stayed. Don't make me sound brave. I'm terrified." Fear and courage aren't opposites. They're partners. Claire rubbed her face. "You sound like a fortune cookie." Something that might have been laughter echoed in her thoughts. The creature sat up slowly. Its movements were careful, deliberate. The big black eyes studied her. "You don't believe in God anymore," it said. Claire's stomach dropped. "How do you?" "I feel it. The emptiness. You used to pray. Now you just exist." Tears burned behind her eyes. She looked away. "He took my husband. Cancer. Slow. Painful. I prayed every single day for a year. God didn't answer. So I stopped asking." Silence. Then, "What if God did answer?" Claire's head snapped up. "Excuse me? What if the answer was no, and you mistook that for abandonment?" Anger flared hot in her chest. "That's a terrible answer, but still an answer. You don't understand. I understand more than you think." The creature's eyes held hers. "You equate love with getting what you want. That's not love. That's transaction." Claire stood up fast. The crate scraped against the floor. "Who the hell are you to lecture me about love? You're not even human." "Exactly, so I see it clearly." Her hands were shaking. She wanted to yell. She wanted to throw something, but instead she just stood there breathing hard, staring at this impossible thing that somehow saw straight into her broken heart. "You don't know me," she whispered. "I know you saved me. I know you stayed all night. I know you're in pain but still chose compassion. That's everything I need to know." Claire sat back down. The fight drained out of her. "Why are you here?" she asked quietly. "Why did you fall on my farm?" "I didn't fall. I was brought." "By who?" "By whatever you call God. By the force that connects all living things. By the current of love that runs through the universe." Claire laughed. It came out bitter. "Love? You're telling me love crashed you into my cornfield?" "Yes. That's insane." "Is it? You stopped believing in love when your husband died. You closed your heart, locked it, threw away the key, and yet here you are, 3 years later, taking care of a wounded stranger in the middle of the night. If that's not love, what is it?" The words hit her like cold water. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. Nothing came out, because the creature was right. She had helped, without thinking, without questioning. The moment she saw suffering, something inside her responded, even though she thought that part of her was dead. "I don't understand," Claire said, her voice cracking. "You will. My family is coming. They'll explain better than I can." "Your family? They're close. They've been searching. They'll arrive soon." Fear spiked through her. "Are they dangerous? Are you?" "What? You're afraid they'll hurt you. But you didn't hurt me. Why would they be different?" Claire had no answer for that. The creature tilted its head. "You humans have such strange beliefs. You think God is love. You think Jesus taught love. But then you expect love to look a certain way, act a certain way. And when it doesn't, you call it fake. What's your point?" "My point is, love brought me here. Love kept you awake all night. Love is why my family is coming. And love is what you're about to learn was never what you thought it was." Claire stared at the creature. at its impossible existence, at the way it spoke truth that hurt and healed at the same time. Outside, the morning sun was rising, and somewhere in the distance, a low hum began to vibrate through the air. The creature's eyes brightened. "They're here." Claire's heart hammered. "Should I be scared?" "You're always scared. The question is, will you stay anyway?" And despite every instinct screaming at her to run, Claire Dougherty stood up, walked to the barn door, and looked out at the field. 3 lights descended from the morning sky. Silent, steady, impossibly real. She took a deep breath and stayed. The lights landed without sound. No roar of engines, no blast of wind, just arrival. 3 figures stepped out of the shimmering air, taller than the small one in the barn. Same gray skin, same impossible eyes. They moved like water, smooth, purposeful, calm. Claire's legs locked. Every muscle in her body screamed to run, but she stayed. The small creature walked past her, limping slightly. It moved toward the others. One of the tall figures knelt down, touched the small one's head gently. Relief flooded through Claire's mind. Not her emotion, theirs. She felt it like a wave. "Family," she whispered. One of the tall figures turned toward her. Its eyes held hers. "You saved our child." The voice came clear, calm, inside her head, but somehow all around her too. Claire swallowed hard. I just did what anyone would do." "No. You did what few would do, without fear overriding compassion." The being stepped closer. Claire forced herself not to move back. "We've been watching your species for a long time," it continued. "Most run, most deny, most attack what they don't understand. You stayed. You cared. That makes you rare." "I don't feel rare. I feel terrified." Something like warmth came through the mental connection, almost like a smile. Fear and love can coexist. Your Jesus knew this. Claire's breath caught. "What? Jesus, the one you stopped praying to, we know him." The world tilted. Claire grabbed the barn door to steady herself. That's not possible." "Why not?" "Because he's God's son. He's human." The word hung in the air like a challenge. "Yes," Claire said, but her voice wavered. The being moved closer. Its presence wasn't threatening. It was gentle, patient, like a teacher with a struggling student. "What if I told you Jesus was both human and more than human? Born here, but originating elsewhere. A consciousness that chose to incarnate on Earth with a specific mission." Claire's head spun. "You're saying Jesus was alien?" "I'm saying consciousness doesn't belong to one planet. Life exists everywhere. Intelligence exists everywhere. And love, true love, is the universal constant that connects it all." "This is insane." "Is it? You've been taught God is everywhere, yes? Omnipresent, in all things, through all things." "Yes, but then why is it insane to think God's messengers could come from anywhere? Why limit the divine to one small planet in an infinite universe?" Claire opened her mouth, closed it. She had no answer. The being's eyes seemed to soften. "You're struggling, that's natural. Everything you were taught is being challenged. But deep down, you already know truth when you hear it. I don't know anything anymore. You know love is real. You felt it when you helped our child." That feeling, that impulse to care, that's what Jesus came to teach. Jesus taught about salvation, about sin, no, the word was firm but not harsh. Jesus taught about love as creative force, love as energy, love as the fundamental building block of reality. Everything else, the religion, the rules, the control that came after, that was humans misunderstanding the message. Claire's chest tightened. 39 years of Sunday school, of prayers, of beliefs built brick by brick, and this being was asking her to question all of it. "I can't just," she started. "We're not asking you to abandon faith. We're asking you to expand it." Jesus wasn't creating a religion. He was trying to wake humanity up to what they're capable of, which is what? Conscious creation, healing through intention, manifestation through love. He showed you it was possible, walked on water, healed the sick, raised the dead, not through magic, through understanding how consciousness affects matter. The small creature, the child, stepped forward. It looked up at Claire with those endless black eyes. "When you held me last night," its voice came soft in her mind. "You didn't think about it. You just acted. Your compassion was immediate, automatic. That's love operating without ego, without agenda. Jesus lived from that place constantly. Tears blurred Claire's vision. But he died. He suffered. If he had all this power, why didn't he save himself? The tall being answered, because the lesson wasn't about avoiding death. It was about transcending it, showing that consciousness continues, that love is stronger than fear, that even in the darkest moment, connection to Source remains. Source, God, universe, the field of infinite potential. Different words, same thing. Claire wiped her eyes. This is too much. We know. That's why we're taking it slow. But you need to understand something important. The being stepped closer. Claire could see her reflection in its dark eyes. Jesus isn't coming back the way you think. He's not descending from clouds with trumpets and judgment. He's returning through people like you, people who choose love over fear, compassion over judgment, connection over separation. Every time you act from genuine love, Christ consciousness activates. That's not what the Bible says. The Bible was written by humans interpreting experiences they barely understood. Divine truth filtered through limited perception. Some truth remains, much was lost, more was distorted. Claire's legs felt weak. She sat down on the barn steps. The small creature sat beside her, touched her hand with its thin fingers. I know it's hard, it said gently, but you already started changing last night. You felt it, that opening in your chest, that warmth, that was remembering. Your soul recognizing truth it always knew. Claire looked at the creature, at its family, at the impossible situation she found herself in, and somewhere deep inside, beneath the fear and confusion and resistance, something whispered, "This is real. This is true. This is what you've been waiting for." She took a shaky breath. What do I do with this information? The tall being's eyes seemed to glow softly. You live it. You let it change you. And you trust that you were chosen for this moment because your heart was ready. The sun climbed higher. The field glowed golden. And Claire Doherty sat between worlds, feeling everything she knew crack open, to make room for something bigger. Show me. The words came out of Claire before she could stop them. The beings looked at each other. Some silent communication passed between them. Are you certain? The tall one asked. Once you see, you cannot unsee. Once you know, you cannot unknow. Claire stood up. Her legs were steady now. Something had shifted. Fear was still there, but underneath it, curiosity, hunger. The part of her that spent 3 years numb suddenly wanted to feel everything. Show me, she repeated. The tall being moved to the center of the field. The others formed a circle around it. Come, it said to Claire. She walked forward. The grass was wet with morning dew. Her boots squelched in the mud. The being reached out its hand. Claire hesitated, then took it. The moment their skin touched, everything changed. Light exploded behind her eyes, not blinding, not painful, just infinite. She was no longer standing in the field. She was everywhere and nowhere. She saw Earth from space, saw it spinning in the dark, saw the web of light connecting every living thing, threads of energy pulsing between people, between animals, between plants, everything interconnected, everything alive. This is the field, the being's voice echoed through the vision. The field of consciousness that Jesus called the kingdom of heaven. It's not a place you go when you die. It's here, now, always. The vision shifted. Claire saw Jesus, not the pale European painting, the real man. Dark skin, calloused hands, eyes that held oceans. He was teaching, but not preaching, demonstrating. She watched him place his hands on a sick woman, saw energy flow from him, golden, warm, alive. Saw the woman's body respond, cells reorganizing, disease dissolving, not magic, not miracle, just understanding. He knew how to direct love like light through a prism. He wasn't special, the being explained. He was awake, fully conscious, operating from complete alignment with Source. And he tried to teach you that everyone could do this. Everyone. The scene shifted again. Claire saw herself, 3 years ago, kneeling beside her husband's hospital bed, praying desperately, begging God to intervene. And she saw what she couldn't see then. The room filled with light, with presence, with love. But she'd been so focused on the outcome she wanted, she missed the answer that was given. The answer was, be with him, love him. That's enough. Not healing, Not miracle, just presence. And she'd rejected it, turned away, called it abandonment. Tears streamed down her face in the real world. He didn't leave you, the being said softly. You left yourself. The vision shifted once more. Now she saw last night, saw herself walking through the rain, saw herself kneel beside the small gray creature, saw light pour out of her heart, the same golden energy Jesus had used. You healed our child more than you know, the being said. Your compassion activated dormant codes in your DNA, woke up abilities you forgot you had. This is what Jesus tried to teach. Love isn't passive. It's the most powerful force in existence. Claire gasped as she was pulled back into her body. She stumbled. The being steadied her. She fell to her knees in the wet grass, sobbing. Not from sadness, from recognition. Everything made sense. Every unanswered prayer, every moment of suffering, every time she thought God wasn't listening. He was. She just wasn't hearing correctly, because she'd been asking for things instead of becoming things. Jesus didn't pray for miracles. He embodied them. He didn't beg God for healing. He became healing. He didn't hope for love. He was love. And he'd been trying to show humanity that they could do the same. I understand, Claire whispered through tears. I finally understand. The small creature knelt beside her, wrapped its thin arms around her shoulders. You always understood, it said gently. You just forgot. Last night you remembered, and now you'll never forget again. Claire looked up at the sky, at the clouds drifting past, at the sun that suddenly seemed so much brighter. She felt her husband, not as grief, not as loss, as presence, as love that never ended. That couldn't end, because love isn't a person. It's a frequency, and frequencies don't die. Tom, she whispered, you're still here. A breeze blew across the field, warm, gentle, like an embrace. Yes, the being stood quietly, witnessing, honoring. What do I do now? Claire asked, wiping her face. You live, the tall being said. You love. You let this truth move through you. You help others when you're called. You trust that you're exactly where you need to be, always. Will I see you again? You'll feel us. We're always close. This planet is entering a new phase. More humans are waking up. You're part of that wave, the first of many who will remember what Jesus really taught. The small creature stood. Its family gathered close. Thank you for saving me, it said. But really, I think I saved you too. Claire laughed through tears. Yeah, I think you did. The beings began to shimmer, fading, not into nothing, into everything. Wait, Claire called out. What do I tell people? How do I explain this? The tall being's voice echoed as it disappeared. Don't explain. Demonstrate. Love them. Serve them. Be present. That's the only teaching that matters. That's what Jesus did. That's what you'll do now. And they were gone. Claire stood alone in the field, but not alone. Never alone again. She looked down and saw it. The spiral, burned into the grass, glowing faintly in the morning light. A reminder, a symbol, a promise. She touched the earth and felt it pulse under her fingers, felt the heartbeat of the planet, of the universe, of God. It was all the same, and she was part of it. Claire Doherty walked back to her farmhouse. The woman who entered was not the woman who left. She was awake, and nothing would ever be the same. The first 3 days were the hardest. Claire couldn't eat, couldn't sleep normally. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the vision, the field of light, Jesus demonstrating what humans forgot they could do. Her body felt different, lighter, like gravity didn't pull as hard. She'd catch herself humming while feeding the chickens, smiling at nothing, feeling joy bubble up from nowhere. It scared her. I'm losing my mind, she told herself on day 4. But then she tested it. Mrs. Patterson from 3 farms over had called that morning. Her dog was dying. Cancer. The vet said there was nothing to do. Claire drove over without thinking. She found the old border collie lying on the porch, barely breathing, eyes glazed. Mrs. Patterson was crying. I can't afford to put him down, he's just suffering. Claire knelt beside the dog, put her hands on its side, and she remembered. The golden light, the energy Jesus used, the frequency the beings showed her. She closed her eyes, breathed, felt for that warmth in her chest, found it, let it flow through her hands. The dog's breathing changed, deepened. Its eyes cleared. After 5 minutes, it stood up, shaky, but stood. Mrs. Patterson gasped. "What did you do?" Claire looked at her hands. "I don't know. I just loved him." The dog licked her face, tail wagging slowly. Mrs. Patterson stared. "Claire, that's impossible." The vet said, "I know what he said." Claire stood up. Her legs were trembling. "But maybe impossible isn't what we think it is." She drove home in silence, pulled into her driveway, sat in the truck for 20 minutes. "Holy shit," she whispered. "It's real. It's all real." That night, she slept 12 hours straight and woke up knowing exactly what she had to do. Nothing dramatic, nothing loud, just live it, be the demonstration. Word spread quietly. Mrs. Patterson told her sister. Her sister told a friend. The friend's husband had chronic back pain. He showed up at Claire's door on a Tuesday. "I don't know what you did to Betty's dog," he said, hat in his hands. "But I'm desperate. Doctors can't help. Pills don't work. I can barely walk some days." Claire invited him in, made coffee, let him talk. Then she asked him to sit, put her hands on his lower back, and felt for that frequency again. It came easier this time, like muscle memory, like remembering how to ride a bike. The man's spine straightened under her touch. She felt the inflammation dissolve, felt the energy realign. "Oh my God," he breathed. "What is that? It's warm. It's like sunshine inside me." "That's love," Claire said simply. "Real love, not the feeling, the force." He stood up, twisted, bent, no pain. Tears ran down his weathered face. "How? I don't know how. I just know it works. And I know Jesus tried to teach us this, but we forgot, or they made us forget. Doesn't matter. We're remembering now." "Are you some kind of faith healer?" Claire laughed. "No, I'm just someone who finally understood what faith actually means. It's not believing in miracles. It's becoming the miracle." More people came. She never advertised, never charged money, never made claims. She just helped when asked. A woman with migraines, gone after one session. A teenage boy with crippling anxiety, calm after 30 minutes of Claire's presence. An elderly man who couldn't sleep, slept through the night for the first time in years. Claire didn't heal them. She knew that now. She just reminded their bodies what wholeness felt like, held the frequency of love so steady that their own systems remembered how to function. "You're not fixing broken things," she'd tell them. "You're just helping your body remember it was never really broken, just disconnected from source, from yourself, from love." Some understood, most didn't, but everyone felt better, and that was enough. 6 months passed. Claire's farm became a quiet sanctuary. People would drive hours just to sit on her porch, drink coffee, feel the peace that seemed to radiate from the land itself. The spiral in the field never faded. It stayed, growing brighter on full moons. She'd go sit in the center sometimes, at night, under the stars. "Thank you," she'd whisper, to the beings, to Jesus, to Tom, to God, to whatever was listening. And she'd feel the response, not words, just warmth, presence, the knowing that she was exactly where she needed to be. One evening, a pastor showed up, young guy, maybe 30, nervous. "Mrs. Doherty, I need to talk to you." She poured him tea, waited. "People in my congregation are talking, saying you perform miracles, saying you claim Jesus was, I don't even know how to say this." "Not from here?" Claire offered gently. He blinked. "Yes, that. Is it true? Did you really say that?" "I said consciousness isn't limited to one planet. I said Jesus came to demonstrate what humans are capable of when they're fully aligned with love. I said the church got some things right and some things very wrong." The pastor's jaw tightened. "That's heresy. Maybe. Or maybe it's truth that sounds like heresy because we've been told the wrong story for 2,000 years. Jesus died for our sins. He was the Son of God. He was the Son of God, demonstrating that we're all sons and daughters of God." Claire interrupted. "He wasn't unique. He was awake. There's a difference." Silence. The young pastor looked down at his tea. "I've been praying. A lot. About this. About you. About what people are saying. And I keep getting the same answer, which doesn't make sense." "What answer?" He looked up. His eyes were wet. "Love them. Just love them. Stop preaching. Start loving. That's all I keep hearing. Over and over. Love them." Claire smiled. "Sounds like you're hearing correctly, but that's not enough." There's doctrine, theology, scripture. And how much of that actually changes lives? How much of that makes people feel less alone, less broken, less afraid? The pastor didn't answer. Love changes things, Claire continued. Real love, active love, not the concept, the practice. That's what Jesus showed. That's what he died trying to teach. And that's what the church buried under rules and rituals and control. So what do I do? You already know. You just told me. Love them. That's it. That's the whole mission. The pastor stood, extended his hand. Thank you. For what? For saying out loud what I've been feeling for years but was too scared to admit. He left. Claire watched his car disappear down the road and smiled. The seed was planted. In him, in everyone who came, in everyone who felt that warmth and couldn't explain it but knew it was real. This is how it spreads, she thought. Not through sermons, through living it. One person at a time. One moment of genuine love at a time. Jesus knew. The beings knew. And now she knew too. The second coming isn't an event. It's a remembering. And it was already happening. 2 years after that storm-torn night, Claire turned 41. She didn't celebrate. Didn't need to. Every day felt like celebration now. The farm had changed. Not physically, energetically. People could feel it the moment they turned onto her road. A lightness, a warmth, something that made them want to slow down. Breathe deeper. Stay longer. It's like church used to feel, one woman told her. Back when I was little, before I understood the words. Just the feeling of safety. Claire understood. Sacred space isn't built. It's cultivated. Through intention, through love, through consistent practice of seeing the divine in everything. She'd wake before dawn now. Not from insomnia, from excitement. She'd walk to the field, stand in the center of that spiral, watch the sun rise, and she'd pray. Not the old way, not asking, not begging, just connecting, feeling the pulse of the earth beneath her feet, the breath of wind on her skin, the warmth of light touching her face. Thank you, she'd whisper, every morning. Thank you for showing me. Thank you for the pain that broke me open. Thank you for Tom. Thank you for the beings. Thank you for remembering. The farm flourished in impossible ways. Her crops grew twice as fast as her neighbors. Her chickens laid eggs daily. Her soil tested richer than it had any right to be. What's your secret? People would ask. Love, she'd say. And they'd laugh, think she was joking. She wasn't. She'd bless the seeds before planting. Thank the earth for receiving them. Send intention of nourishment and abundance. And the land responded. Because everything responds to love. The animals knew it most clearly. Wild deer would come right up to her. Birds would land on her shoulders. Once a coyote with a hurt paw limped to her porch. She'd healed it without hesitation. It licked her hand and ran off. Nature recognized her now. Recognized the frequency she carried. The same frequency Jesus carried. The same one the beings carried. The same one every awakened soul carries. The frequency of home. On her 41st birthday, something shifted again. She was in the barn, mucking stalls, when the feeling hit her. That familiar warmth. That presence. She looked up. The small gray creature stood in the doorway. Not physically. She knew that. But the vision was so clear it didn't matter. Hello, friend. Its voice came through her mind. Claire dropped the rake. Tears sprang to her eyes. You came back. I never left. I've been watching. So proud of what you've become. She laughed through tears. I'm just farming, helping people. Nothing special. You're demonstrating. That's everything. You're showing what's possible when someone stops talking about love and starts being love. Is this what Jesus did? Claire asked. In his way, yes. He was more public, more confrontational. His mission required that. Yours requires something different. Quiet revolution. Leading by example. Changing one heart at a time. I wish more people understood. They will. It takes time. Seeds grow slowly, but they grow. And you've planted thousands of seeds in these 2 years. In everyone you've touched, everyone you've healed, everyone who felt peace in your presence. Claire wiped her eyes. Will I see you again? I mean, really see you? When the time is right. When humanity is ready for open contact. Soon. Not yet, but soon. How soon? Within your lifetime. More people are waking up. The veil is thinning. What happened to you is happening to others all over the world. Different forms. Same message. Remember. Wake up. You're more than they told you. The vision began to fade. "Wait," Claire called. "I never thanked you properly. For everything. For changing my life." The creature's image brightened one last time. "You changed your own life. I just gave you permission to remember who you've always been. That's all any teacher can do. Give permission. The rest is up to you." And it was gone. Claire stood in the barn, sunlight streaming through the cracks, dust motes dancing in the air. She felt complete, not because everything was perfect, because everything was exactly as it needed to be. That evening, she wrote, started a journal, not for publication, just for herself, for clarity, for record. She wrote about that night, the storm, the crash, the small gray child. She wrote about the visions, the healing, the understanding that came in waves. She wrote about Jesus, about how she finally understood what he'd been trying to teach. "Love is not a feeling," she wrote. "It's a frequency, a vibration, the fundamental force of creation. When you align with it, truly align, not just pretend, impossible things become possible. Not because you're special, because you're finally operating the way you were designed to operate." She wrote until her hand cramped. Then she closed the journal, put it in the drawer, and went outside to watch the sunset. The spiral in the field glowed faintly. It always did at twilight. Claire walked to it, stood in the center, looked at the sky turning pink and gold. "I get it now, Tom," she whispered. "Why you had to go, why I had to break, why everything happened the way it did. I get it." The breeze picked up, warm, gentle. She felt him, clear as day, not as memory, as presence. "I'm proud of you," she heard. Not in her ears, in her heart. "I miss you, I know, but I'm not gone. None of us are ever really gone. We just change form, change frequency. But love remains, always." Claire smiled. Always. She stayed until the stars came out. Stayed until the spiral beneath her feet pulsed with soft light. Stayed until she felt so full of peace she thought she might burst. Then she walked back to the farmhouse, made dinner, fed the animals, did the dishes, simple tasks, ordinary moments. But every single one felt sacred now, because she'd learned the secret, the one Jesus tried to teach, the one the beings confirmed, the one that changes everything. There is no separation between ordinary and divine. It's all sacred. It's all God. It's all love expressing itself in infinite forms. And the moment you remember that, truly remember, life transforms, not into something perfect, into something real, into something worth living. Claire Dougherty fell asleep that night with a smile on her face. And in her dreams, she flew among the stars, surrounded by beings of light, human and not human, all connected, all family, all expressions of the same eternal love. And somewhere in the infinite, Jesus smiled too, because another one had finally remembered, and the awakening continued. Things happened fast after that. Not dramatic, just momentum. Claire's neighbor, Jim Hendricks, showed up one afternoon, 72 years old, Vietnam vet, hadn't been to church since 1987. "I don't know what you're doing over here," he said, "but I want to know." Claire made coffee. "What do you want to know?" "How you changed. 2 years ago you were barely holding on. Now you're lit up from the inside." "Not religion," Claire said. "Truth." "What's the difference?" "Religion tells you what to believe. Truth shows you what's real." Jim leaned back. "Show me." She asked him to be honest. "What hurts most? Right now?" "Deepest pain." He looked away. "I can't forgive myself." "For what?" "Things I did in the war. I see their faces. Every night. 50 years. Claire took his hand. "You've been carrying that alone? Who else would understand?" "God understands. God abandoned me in that jungle." "No, you abandoned yourself. You've been punishing yourself thinking suffering equals payment. But forgiveness isn't something you earn. It's something you accept." Jim's eyes watered. "How do you know?" "Because I was shown. By beings who came from somewhere else to remind me what we forgot. That love isn't conditional. Never was." She squeezed his hand. That warmth passed between them. Jim felt it, like electricity but gentle. "What is that?" "That's what's real. That's what Jesus demonstrated. That's what forgiveness actually feels like." Jim cried, 50 years of guilt pouring out. When he stopped, he looked at her with clear eyes. "I feel lighter. You are lighter." 2 days later, Jim started coming to Claire's morning gatherings. She'd started them without planning. People just showed up at dawn, sat in the field, watched sunrise together. No agenda, no sermon, just presence. 20 people came that first month, then 40, then 70. They'd sit around the spiral, hold space for each other. "My daughter won't speak to me," one woman shared. 10 years. "Do you want to be right or do you want relationship?" Claire asked. The woman blinked. "What? Pride or love? You can hold on to being right, or reach out first. Can't do both." "She should reach out first." "Maybe, but you're suffering, so you have power to change it. Forgive her without needing her to ask. Love her without needing her to reciprocate. Watch what happens." 3 weeks later, that woman reconciled with her daughter. Stories like that happened constantly. A teenager struggling with addiction, clean 6 months after sitting in the field weekly. A businessman on the edge of suicide, found reason to live again. A couple about to divorce, recommitted after understanding love isn't feeling, it's choice. Claire never took credit. "I'm just holding space. The healing happens between them and Source." But people knew better. Something about her presence activated something in them. The young pastor started coming too. After 2 months, he approached her. "I'm changing how I do church. Less preaching, more presence, less doctrine, more love." Claire hugged him. Terrifying, isn't it? Terrifying and liberating. That's how you know you're on the right path. By year 3, over 100 people gathered weekly. Some drove hours, some flew in from other states. Claire never advertised, never sought attention. When a news station wanted to do a story, she declined. "This isn't about me. This is about people remembering." Cameras would ruin that, but she couldn't stop the ripple. Every person who came left different, carried that difference back to their families, communities, lives. Teachers taught differently, parents loved differently. The frequency spread, invisible but undeniable. Jim Hendricks stopped having nightmares. The woman reconciled with her daughter, became a counselor. The suicidal businessman started a nonprofit. The couple wrote a book about choosing love daily. Seeds Claire planted bloomed in gardens she'd never see, and that was exactly how it was supposed to work. Not glory, not recognition, just quiet, persistent, transformative love. The kind that changes the world without announcing itself. The kind Jesus demonstrated. The kind that saves everything by healing one person at a time. Claire would stand in her field at night, looking at stars. "Thank you for using me," she'd whisper, "for trusting me with this." And the stars would shine brighter, and the spiral would glow, and somewhere beyond sight, the beings smiled. Because the plan was working. Humanity was waking up, and there was no stopping it now. 5 years after the encounter, Claire's health started failing. Doctors found cancer, pancreatic, stage 4. 6 months, they said. Maybe a year with treatment. Claire declined treatment. "Why?" her doctor asked. "I've done what I came to do. If it's time to go, I'm ready." People were devastated, begging her to fight. "This isn't giving up," she said. "This is accepting." Jesus didn't fight death. He walked into it consciously, showed that it's transition, not ending. "But we need you," someone sobbed. "No, you need what I helped you remember, and that's inside you now." Jim Hendricks took it hardest. "You saved my life," he said. "I can't lose you. You're not losing me. I'm changing form." Energy doesn't disappear, it transforms. "You'll feel me." The young pastor came daily. "You changed everything for me," he said. "What do I do when you're gone?" "Keep doing what you're doing. Keep choosing love over doctrine, presence over performance." That's the whole message. Claire's last month was spent in the field. They'd carry her out mornings, set up a chair in the spiral center, and she'd teach. "What do you want to know?" she'd ask. "Is heaven real?" Heaven is real, but it's not a place, it's a state, a frequency. When you're aligned with love, you're in heaven. Right now, that's what Jesus meant by, "The kingdom is within you." What about hell? Hell is separation from love. It's not punishment. It's the natural result of choosing fear. And even hell isn't permanent. Love always calls you back. Did Jesus really rise from the dead? His consciousness did. The body is temporary. Consciousness is eternal. He proved that. That's the resurrection. "Are the beings angels?" Claire smiled. "Different words, same thing. Beings of higher consciousness. Whether you call them angels or extraterrestrials doesn't matter. They're family." Her last week, Claire could barely speak, but her presence said everything. Jim held vigil the final 3 days. "I'm scared," he admitted. "Of what?" "Being without you." "You won't be. I'll visit. You'll feel me. In the morning breeze. In moments when you need courage." "How will I know it's really you?" "You'll just know." The young pastor came that night. "I don't want you to go," he said. "Let me go with your blessing. I'm not ending. I'm beginning, expanding." Claire died at sunrise, sitting in her chair in the spiral center, facing east. She took one last breath, smiled, and let go. Jim felt her leave, then felt warmth surrounding him. "I'm here," he heard, "just different." The sunrise was the most beautiful he'd ever seen. The spiral glowed bright gold, and in the distance, Jim saw them, 3 figures, shimmering, the beings, come to welcome her home. One raised its hand, Jim raised his back, and they faded. They buried her in the field, right in the spiral center. Claire Doherty, 1986, 2030. She remembered hundreds came. No one wore black. Claire wanted color, joy, they sang, shared stories. When the sun set, the spiral lit up, brighter than ever. And in the light, people saw shapes. Claire, Tom, the beings, smiling. The vision lasted 30 seconds, but everyone saw it. Proof. Death is not the end. Love continues. Always. Jim lived another 15 years, spent every morning in that field, teaching what she taught. The young pastor's church grew, not in numbers, in depth, love over law, presence over preaching, and it spread, like wildfire, like resurrection. The beings watched, satisfied. Humanity was remembering. Christ consciousness activating in thousands, not through religion, through relationship, just like Jesus planned. And somewhere in the infinite, Claire danced among the stars, free, whole, complete, still teaching, still loving, forever. 10 years after Claire's death, the world looked different. Not obviously, not on the surface, but underneath, everything had changed. Jim Hendricks was 82 now, still living on his farm next to Claire's land, still sitting in that field every morning. The spiral never faded. Scientists came to study it, called it an electromagnetic anomaly, tried to explain it with soil composition and mineral deposits. Jim would just smile and let them take their readings. He knew what it really was, a reminder, a doorway, a permanent mark left by love. The gatherings continued, bigger now. Every Sunday at dawn, over 300 people came regularly, some from overseas. They called it the Field Church, though Jim insisted it wasn't church. Church implies institution, he'd say. This is just people remembering together. He'd become the reluctant leader, never wanted the role. But Claire had prepared him without him knowing. Just hold space, she'd told him. That's all leadership really is, holding space for others to find their own truth. So that's what he did. People would share, ask questions, sit in silence together, and Jim would listen, really listen, the way Claire taught him. One morning, a young woman approached him after, maybe 25, eyes red from crying. "My brother died last week," she said. "Overdose. I don't know how to, I can't." Jim took her hand. "Sit with me." They sat on the grass. The spiral glowed faintly beneath them. "Tell me about him," Jim said. She talked for an hour, about her brother's struggles, his pain, his failed attempts to get clean, his final relapse. "I'm so angry," she said, "at him, at God, at everything. Anger is fine. It's part of grief. Let it be there. But everyone keeps saying he's in a better place, that God called him home. That sounds like bullsh." "It is," Jim interrupted gently. "Your brother made a choice, a desperate choice, but still a choice. God didn't call him. Pain did. Addiction did. And those are real. They're not punishment. They're suffering." She looked at him, surprised. That's not what the pastor said at his funeral. Pastors say what they think will comfort. Sometimes truth comforts more than platitudes. "So where is he now?" Jim looked at the sky. "Transitioning, learning, healing on the other side. Death doesn't fix everything instantly, but it removes the body's limitations, gives consciousness space to understand what happened, to grow, to prepare for whatever comes next." "You really believe that?" "I know it. Claire showed me. She visits sometimes, not in body, in presence, in knowing. Your brother will too, when he's ready, when you're ready." You'll feel him." The young woman cried harder, but different now, not hopeless, releasing. Jim sat with her until she was ready to leave. This happened constantly, people bringing their pain, their questions, their doubt, and Jim would hold space, share what Claire taught him, point them back to love. Not religious love, real love, the kind that doesn't pretend everything is fine, the kind that sits with suffering and says, "I see you, you're not alone." The young pastor, not so young anymore, now 40, still came every week. His church had split 5 years ago. Half the congregation left when he refused to preach hell and damnation. "Good riddance," he'd told Jim. "I don't want people motivated by fear. I want people motivated by love." The remaining members were smaller in number but deeper in practice. They'd transformed the church building, removed the pulpit, arranged chairs in circles, created space for dialogue instead of monologue. Claire would be proud. Jim told him, "I hope so. I'm terrified half the time. Not sure if I'm doing this right." If you're terrified, you're doing it right. Certainty is the enemy of growth. Jesus was probably terrified too, challenging everything, knowing they'd hate him for it. The pastor laughed. "That's somehow comforting. Truth usually is." Jim started writing that year. Not a book, just letters. To no one in particular. To everyone. He'd write about Claire, about what she taught, about the beings, about Jesus as consciousness instead of commodity. He'd leave the letters in the field, weighted down with stones. People would find them, read them, take them home. Some got copied, shared online, spread across social media. Jim never signed them, didn't want credit. "The message matters," he'd say. Not the messenger, but the message was spreading. People all over were waking up, having their own experiences, their own encounters. Some saw beings like Claire did. Some just felt shift in consciousness. Some had visions, dreams, knowing that came from nowhere and everywhere. The veil was thinning, exactly like the beings said it would. One night, Jim woke at 3 a.m. That familiar warmth filled his room. "Claire," he whispered. "Still here, old friend." Her voice came clear, not out loud, in his heart. "I miss you. I know, but you're doing beautifully. The work is spreading, faster than you realize. Is it enough? Sometimes I feel like nothing's really changing. Everything's changing. You just can't see it yet. Seeds grow underground before they break surface. Trust the process. How much longer do I have? Long enough. Don't worry about timeline. Just keep showing up. Keep loving. Keep holding space. That's all that's ever required." The warmth faded. Jim lay there, tears on his face, smile on his lips. He fell back asleep, feeling held. The next morning, something shifted in him. A certainty, a peace. He'd done enough questioning, enough doubting. Time to just live it, fully, completely, however much time remained. He walked to the field, sat in the spiral center, closed his eyes, felt the sun on his face, and prayed. Not the old way, not asking, just connecting, feeling the pulse of life moving through him, through the earth, through everything. "Thank you," he whispered, "for all of it. The pain, the joy, the lessons, the love. Thank you." The spiral glowed brighter, and somewhere beyond sight, Claire smiled. Her work continued through him, through hundreds of others, through thousands. The Christ consciousness was spreading, not through religion, through resurrection of truth, not through buildings, through beings choosing love, not through doctrine, through demonstration, exactly as intended. Jim opened his eyes, looked at the people gathering for morning circle, young and old, rich and poor, believer and skeptic, all coming to remember, all hungry for truth, all ready to wake up. He stood, smiled, welcomed them, and the teaching continued. 20 years after Claire's death, the shift was undeniable. Jim Hendricks was 92, still alive, still teaching, still holding space. Doctors couldn't explain it. He should have died years ago. Heart condition, diabetes, age. But he kept going, kept showing up. "I'm not done yet," he'd say with a grin. "Still got work to do." The field church had grown beyond anything Claire could have imagined. Gatherings happened daily now, multiple times. People from every continent. They'd built simple shelters around the field, not buildings, open-air structures, places to sit, to rest, to be. No one owned the land. Jim had deeded it to a trust before Claire died. Sacred ground belongs to everyone. But it wasn't just Claire's field anymore. Similar gatherings were happening everywhere. In Japan, a woman named Yuki had an encounter with beings, started teaching the same message. In Brazil, a man named Miguel. Same thing. In South Africa, Australia, India, Norway. Everywhere people were having contact, receiving the same information. Love is the answer. Always was. Always will be. Jesus taught it, got killed for it. The message got buried under religion, but now it was resurfacing, breaking through, unstoppable. The internet helped. People shared their experiences, found each other, realized they weren't crazy. The Great Remembering, someone called it. The name stuck. Scientists started noticing too. Studies showed collective consciousness was changing. Measurable shifts in electromagnetic fields, global coherence increasing. Something's happening to humanity, one researcher announced. We're evolving, rapidly, in real time. Religious institutions panicked. Some churches embraced it, transformed their teaching, admitted they'd gotten things wrong. Others doubled down, called it deception, New Age lies, satanic. But you can't stop evolution. You can't stop truth once it reaches critical mass. And the tipping point had been reached. Jim watched it all with quiet satisfaction. Claire knew. He'd tell people. She knew this was coming. That's why she spent her last years preparing us. One morning, the young pastor, now gray-haired, 55, came running into the field. "Jim, you have to see this." He held up his phone, showed Jim a news report. They're calling it simultaneous global contact. Thousands of people, all over the world. Same night, same message. Jim watched the footage. People describing beings of light, telepathic communication. The same teachings Claire received. "It's happening," Jim whispered. "Open contact, just like they promised." Within weeks, the phenomenon was undeniable. Ships appeared in skies, not hiding anymore, present, visible, peaceful. Governments tried to spin it, control the narrative, failed. Too many witnesses, too much evidence, too much truth. The beings made their intention clear through thousands of contactees. We come in peace. We come to help. We come because humanity is ready to remember who they really are. Jim was invited to speak at the United Nations. He declined. "I'm too old for that circus. Send someone younger." But the younger generation didn't need him. They already knew. Kids being born now came in different, awake, aware, remembering. They spoke of past lives casually, communicated telepathically, demonstrated abilities that used to be called supernatural. "This is natural," one 8-year-old explained on television. "We just forgot. Now we're remembering. It's not special, it's normal." The old systems began crumbling. Not violently, just irrelevance. Money mattered less. Power mattered less. Status mattered less. Connection mattered more. Love mattered more. Truth mattered more. People left jobs that didn't serve life, left relationships built on fear, left beliefs that kept them small, and chaos erupted, then settled, then transformed into something new. A new earth. Not metaphor, reality. One morning, Jim woke to find Claire sitting in his room. Not vision, presence, clear as day. "You're almost done," she said, smiling. "I know. You did good, Jim. Really good. I just showed up. Like you said, that's all anyone needs to do. Show up, love, repeat. You've done that for 20 years. Helped thousands remember. Now it's time to rest. I'm ready. I know you are." She reached out, took his hand. He felt young again, strong, whole. "Tom's here too," she said. "He wants to thank you for taking care of his wife after he left." Jim's eyes watered. "I didn't do much. You did everything." The pastor found Jim 3 hours later, sitting in his chair, facing the field, smile on his face. Gone, but not gone. The funeral was massive. Thousands came. They buried him next to Claire. In the Spiral Center, Jim Hendricks, 1948 to 2040. He showed up and the work continued. Because it was never about Claire, never about Jim, never about any individual. It was about remembering. The whole species remembering what they forgot. That they're divine, powerful, creative, connected. That Jesus wasn't unique. He was awake. That the beings weren't invaders. They were family. That love isn't weakness, it's the strongest force in existence. And now finally, after millennia of forgetting, humanity remembered. Not all at once, not everyone, but enough. The critical mass reached, the shift complete. And in the quantum field where Claire and Jim danced with Tom and the beings in Jesus and every awakened soul throughout history, they celebrated, because the mission was accomplished. Earth had graduated, the experiment successful, and a new chapter began. Not of salvation, of creation, not of following, of becoming, not of worship, of partnership. The age of remembering had arrived, and nothing would ever be the same. 50 years after Claire's encounter, the world was unrecognizable, not in technology, not in buildings or borders, in consciousness. The Great Remembering had become the Great Awakening. Children born after 2030 came in different, fully awake, aware of their multidimensional nature from birth. They called them the Rememberers. By age 5, they could heal with touch, communicate telepathically, see energy fields around living things. It's not special, one child explained to researchers. You can do it too, you just forgot how. And the adults started remembering. Not all, not overnight, but steadily. Classes appeared everywhere, teaching what used to be called supernatural abilities, telepathy, healing, manifestation, remote viewing. These aren't gifts, the teachers said. They're skills, human skills. Jesus demonstrated them. Claire demonstrated them. Now it's your turn. The Field Church, now called The Field, had become a global movement. Thousands of locations, millions of participants, no hierarchy, no doctrine, no membership fees, just people gathering to remember together. Sarah Chen was 28, born in 2042, one of the Rememberers. She'd grown up hearing stories about Claire, about Jim, about the beings. Her grandmother had been healed by Claire before she died, cancer gone after one session. Claire told me something I never forgot, her grandmother would say. She said, "You're not broken. You just believed you were. The healing isn't me fixing you. It's you remembering what wholeness feels like." Sarah became a teacher, not in schools, in the field. She'd sit with people, hold space, help them access what Claire called the frequency. One afternoon, a man came to her, middle-aged, angry, skeptical. "My wife dragged me here," he said. "This is all nonsense, new age garbage." Sarah smiled. "Okay." He blinked. "That's it? You're not going to convince me?" "Why would I? You have to convince yourself. I'm just here if you want to try something." "Try what?" "Close your eyes. Take 3 breaths. Tell me what you feel." He rolled his eyes but complied. After the 3rd breath, his expression changed. What is that? What are you feeling?" "Warmth in my chest. It's..." He opened his eyes, stunned. "I feel my wife, like she's right here, but she's at home." That's connection. Real connection. Not through phones or screens. Through consciousness. Through love. You just tapped into it. He sat down hard. This is real? This is real. So everything they said about Jesus, about him being connected to everything, he was demonstrating what's possible, what's natural, what you just experienced. He called it the kingdom of heaven. We call it the field. Same thing. The man started crying. "I've been so angry. At God, at church, at people like you, because I thought it was all lies." It was lies. The religious version was lies. But the truth underneath, that's always been real. You just felt it. He came back every week after that, brought his wife, his kids, his co-workers. This happened constantly, everywhere. People having direct experiences, not believing, knowing. The beings became visible to more people. Ships appeared regularly now, not hiding, not threatening, just present. Landings happened, open, public, peaceful. The beings, many species, many forms, all shared the same message. You're ready now, ready to join the galactic community, ready to take your place among conscious civilizations. Welcome home. Governments had tried to control first contact, failed completely, because contact was happening everywhere, to everyone, simultaneously. You couldn't control it, couldn't spin it, couldn't deny it. The evidence was overwhelming, undeniable, transformative. Sarah attended one of the public contact events. Thousands gathered in what used to be Claire's field. The spiral had grown, expanded, now covered acres. At sunset, 3 ships descended. Beings emerged, different species, all radiating that same frequency Claire described. Love, pure, unconditional, undeniable. One approached Sarah, tall, luminous, eyes like galaxies. "You carry Claire's frequency," it said telepathically. "You knew her? We all knew her. She was one of the first, one of the bridges. Her work made this possible. She's still here, isn't she? Still helping. Always. Death is transition, not ending. She's more active now than she was in body, teaching from higher dimensions, preparing more souls to remember." Sarah felt tears on her face. "Will I meet her?" "You already have. Every time you hold space for someone, every time you help them remember. That's Claire working through you. That's how it works. Consciousness doesn't die. It multiplies, spreads, transforms others." The being touched her forehead gently. Information flooded through Sarah. Not words, pure knowing. She saw the plan, the long game, the reason for everything. Earth was one of thousands of planets going through awakening. The universe was conscious, alive, evolving, and every awakened being, human or otherwise, was part of that evolution. Jesus wasn't alone. There were thousands of Christs, teachers, avatars, demonstrators, all showing their civilizations the same truth. Love is the fundamental force. Connection is natural. Separation is illusion. "So we're not special?" Sarah asked. "You're incredibly special. Every conscious being is. But you're not unique. You're universal. You're family. And family has been waiting for you to remember." The being stepped back. "The invitation stands. Join us. Not as subordinates, as equals, as creators, as partners in the grand experiment of conscious evolution." Sarah looked around, at the thousands of people, at the ships, at the spiral glowing beneath her feet. "We accept," she said. Not just for herself, for everyone. The being's face did something that might have been a smile. "We know. That's why we're here." And the integration began. Not invasion, not takeover. Partnership, technology shared, wisdom exchanged, healing taught, connection deepened. Within 10 years, Earth transformed completely. Poverty ended, not through money, through abundance consciousness. War ended, not through force, through understanding that separation is illusion. Disease decreased dramatically, not through medicine alone, through people remembering how to heal themselves. The old systems dissolved, not through revolution, through evolution. People simply stopped participating in what didn't serve life and started creating what did. Sarah became one of the ambassadors, bridging human and non-human consciousness, teaching, learning, demonstrating. She'd often sit in the field, where Claire sat, where Jim sat, and she'd feel them, both of them, clear as day. "Thank you," she'd whisper, "for everything, for starting this, for showing us the way." And the warmth would come, the presence. "You're welcome, but it wasn't us, it was always you. We just reminded you. Now you're reminding others." That's how love works. It multiplies, infinitely. Sarah would close her eyes, feel the pulse of the planet, the heartbeat of the universe, and truly know that everything was exactly as it should be. The remembering was complete, the awakening accomplished, the return to love total. And somewhere in the infinite, Claire and Jim and Tom and Jesus and the beings, all celebrating, because humanity had finally come home. The year was 2080. Claire's field had become a pilgrimage site. Not religious, consciousness. People came from across the galaxy now. Different species, different forms, all seeking the same thing. Connection to the frequency, the place where it all began. The spot where one woman said yes to the impossible. The spiral had evolved, no longer just a mark in the grass. Now a living structure, crystalline, pulsing with light, responding to consciousness. Scientists studied it. Mystics meditated in it. Children played in it. Everyone felt the same thing. Peace. Maya was 7 years old, born in 2073, fourth-generation rememberer. She'd never known a world of separation, never known war or poverty or disease. To her, telepathy was normal. Healing was common. Multidimensional awareness was basic. Her grandmother brought her to the field. "This is where it started," she said. "Where Claire met the beings, where everything changed." Maya looked around, felt the energy, smiled. "She's still here." "Who is?" Claire, can't you feel her? Her grandmother paused, closed her eyes, reached out with her awareness. And yes, there, clear as day, a presence, warm, loving, eternal. I feel her, she whispered. Maya nodded. She says thank you, for remembering, for carrying it forward. Can you see her? Not with eyes, with knowing. She's not in a body anymore. She's everywhere, like Jesus, like all the awakened ones. They don't leave, they expand, become part of everything. An elderly man approached them, had to be 90, moving slowly but steadily. Excuse me, he said. Did you say you can feel Claire? Maya looked at him, tilted her head. You knew her. It wasn't a question. Statement of fact. The man's eyes widened. How did you? You have her frequency in your field. You spent time with her, learned from her. He sat down on the crystalline spiral, tears streaming. I was 8 years old. My mother brought me here. I was sick, dying actually. Leukemia. Claire put her hands on my head, and I just got better. Doctors called it spontaneous remission, but I knew. She healed me. She helped you remember how to heal yourself. Maya corrected gently. Yes, that's what she said. Exactly those words. She's here now, Maya said. She wants you to know. You did good. You kept the promise. What promise? To live fully, to love freely, to remember always. The man sobbed. I tried. I really tried. You succeeded. Look at you, 92 years old, still here, still showing up, still teaching by example. That's the promise kept. He looked at this 7-year-old child who spoke like an ancient master. Are you her? Maya laughed, childlike, joyful. No, but I carry the same frequency. We all do. Everyone who remembers. We're all Claire. We're all Jesus. We're all the beings. We're all one consciousness experiencing itself in infinite forms. Her grandmother knelt beside Maya. How do you know these things? I don't know them. I remember them. It's different. Knowing is head, remembering is whole body, whole being. A crowd had gathered, listening, feeling. Maya stood, addressed them all. Claire wants you to know something, all of you. Silence. Everyone leaned in. The story doesn't end. It never ends. Death is transition. Life is eternal. Love is infinite. You think you're here visiting a historic site, but really, you're here activating your own remembering. This place is a tuning fork. It helps you match the frequency of awakening. She walked to the center of the spiral, placed her small hand on the crystal. It blazed with light, bright enough that people shielded their eyes. In the light, forms appeared. Claire, Jim, Tom, the beings, Jesus, thousands of others, all present, all conscious, all connected. They're not gone, Maya said softly. They're just operating from a different dimension. But they're here, always here, cheering you on, celebrating your awakening, waiting for you to join them, not through death, through consciousness, through love. The forms faded, the light dimmed, the spiral pulsed gently. People stood in silence, many crying, all transformed. That's the final teaching, Maya continued. The one Claire died to demonstrate, the one Jesus died to demonstrate, the one every master throughout history died to demonstrate. Death proves that consciousness continues, that we're more than bodies, that love transcends everything. An old woman raised her hand. So what do we do? How do we live with this knowing? Maya smiled. Same way Claire did, same way Jim did. You show up, you love, you hold space, you demonstrate what's possible. You let your life be the teaching, not your words, your presence. That's it. That's everything. The crowd dispersed slowly, reluctantly, not wanting to leave the energy. Maya's grandmother took her hand. You're quite the teacher. I'm just remembering. We all are. This whole planet is remembering. This whole universe is remembering. What separation felt like, why we chose it, what we learned from it, and now, what coming home feels like. They walked through the field, past the spots where Claire healed, where Jim taught, where thousands had awakened. Do you think it'll keep spreading? Her grandmother asked. It can't stop spreading. Truth works like that. Once critical mass is reached, it's inevitable. Every being in this universe will eventually remember. Some are remembering now. Some will take millennia. But eventually, everyone comes home. And then what? Maya looked up at the sky, ships moving between stars. beings of every kind living in harmony. Then we create. That's what awakened consciousness does. It creates new worlds, new experiences, new expressions of love. The universe is infinite. So is creativity. So are we. It sounds beautiful. It is beautiful. It always was. We just forgot for a while. But forgetting is part of the game. Makes remembering sweeter. They reached the edge of the field. The sun setting. The spiral glowing softly. Maya turned back, looked at the sacred ground. "Thank you, Claire," she whispered, "for having the courage, for saying yes, for showing us the way." The wind picked up, warm, gentle, carrying a whisper. "You're welcome, little one. Now it's your turn. Carry it forward. Love them all. Remind them who they are." Maya smiled. "I will." Her grandmother heard it too, felt it. She's really here. She never left. None of them did. They're in us, through us, as us. That's the secret. That's the truth. That's the love that changes everything. They walked home as stars appeared, and across the galaxy, on 1,000 worlds, beings of every kind paused, felt the shift, the ripple, the remembering. One more soul awakened, one more child speaking truth, one more demonstration of what's possible. The wave continues, the love spreads, the consciousness expands. From Claire's choice in a Kansas storm to Maya's teaching in a crystalline field. From Jesus walking dusty roads to beings traversing star systems. All the same message, all the same truth. Love is all there is. Everything else is forgetting. And now, humanity remembers. Finally, fully, forever. The end, which is also the beginning. Always.